The bright and reluctant princess, Sang-ji, felt her heart sink after learning the meaning behind the bracelet Duan Jiaxu had given her. It was meant as a caring gesture from an elder. Not romantic at all. Great, just call me his little sister forever, she thought bitterly. When Sang-ji told her parents that Duan Jiaxu would pick her up early the next morning for her trip back to Yihe, they were happy to hand over the responsibility. Meanwhile, Duan Jiaxu spent the whole night hunting for tickets, finally managing to book them. Who knew booking tickets could feel like surviving an apocalypse? He muttered, before collapsing into bed. Before dawn, Duan Jiaxu arrived at Sang-ji's house, breakfast in hand, but his excitement dimmed when he noticed she wasn't wearing the bracelet. Noted. Bracelet. 0 points for charm, he thought, trying to shake off the disappointment. At the airport, the awkwardness went up a notch when they ran into Yuan Lang, Duan Jiaxu's high school classmate. Yuan Lang assumed Sang-ji was his girlfriend, but then casually brought up Jiang Ying. Sang-ji's ears perked up at the name, prompting a curious Jiang Ying from her. When she found out this was the girl who once splashed water on him, she couldn't hold back. Wait, so your romantic past involves a water fight? Later, back at her dorm, Sang-ji waved goodbye from her balcony, only for her roommate Ning Wei to slide up beside her like a detective on a mission. When Sang-ji wondered aloud if Duan Jiaxu might have feelings for her, she quickly dismissed it, reasoning, "He's seen me in my most embarrassing moments since I was a kid." Ning Wei, unimpressed, replied with the ultimate tactical advice: "If the enemy doesn't move, I won't move." Simple. Meanwhile, Duan Jiaxu had his own revelation. Sang-ji's so-called crush didn't exist. She liked him. His mind raced. Okay, so what now? Flowers? Grand speeches? Or just wing it and hope for the best? Seeking advice, he called Qianfei, who gave him a less than helpful, "just don't mess it up." When Friday came, Duan Jiaxu was dressed sharply, ready to impress. Sang-ji's roommates fussed over her as if she were about to meet royalty. On their way to dinner, Duan Jiaxu casually mentioned wanting her to meet someone. Sang-ji's stomach dropped. Is this it? He's introducing me to a girlfriend. But when he placed her in the front seat instead of the back, her nerves eased. Wait, front seat? That's a girlfriend perk, right? At the restaurant, her fears spiked again when she saw a woman waiting for them, but it turned out to be Sister Siyun, who was married and only a colleague. I'm married, Siyun clarified, flashing her ring. Sang-ji, relieved but still embarrassed, thought, oh great, all this drama, and it's just a work dinner. After dinner, Sang-ji felt too awkward to return to the restaurant, so Duan Jiaxu took her to a movie instead. When she accidentally bought milk tea despite being allergic, he hurried to exchange it. But fate had other plans. Her rash flared up mid-movie, and Duan Jiaxu rushed her to the hospital. Duan Jiaxu handed Sang-ji some medicine, but she quickly covered her face while taking it, worried he might notice how her allergic reaction had affected her appearance. Trying to lighten the mood, she joked about how delicious the milk tea had been, even though it caused her allergy. Maybe I should start a new diet plan. Everything I like, I'm allergic to. Duan Jiaxu recalled the time he had given her milk in the past, but Sang-ji admitted she had secretly passed it on to a classmate, insisting she didn't need it. As they walked, Sang-ji tried scratching her face, but Duan Jiaxu gently held her hands to stop her. His firm grip made Sang-ji laugh, teasing him that he looked like he was walking a dog. Do I look like a pet to you? Should I start fetching sticks too? Curious, she asked why he had referred to her as a friend in front of his colleagues earlier, even though he used to call her his sister. Duan Jiaxu seemed to have an answer on the tip of his tongue, but chose to stay silent instead, leaving her to wonder. It's okay, take your time. I'll just start writing my own fanfiction about it, Sang-ji thought, rolling her eyes inside. Meanwhile, back at the dormitory, Sang-ji's roommates were abuzz with speculation about her and Duan Jiaxu. Even Wang Wang, their mischievous dog, was dragged into the discussion. Maybe Wang Wang should be our matchmaker. At least he's good at sniffing things out. When Sang-ji's birthday finally arrived, she dressed up carefully to meet Duan Jiaxu, feeling both nervous and excited. Just as she was about to leave, Jiang Ming appeared unexpectedly with a gift, offering to celebrate with her. Despite his good intentions, he tactfully stepped away after seeing Duan Jiaxu arrive. Later, Duan Jiaxu gently asked Sang-ji if he resembled the person she had once mentioned liking. Embarrassed, she quickly turned away and denied it, claiming she didn't have feelings for anyone now. She dismissed her former crush, saying he was like a central air conditioner, kind to everyone. Duan Jiaxu chuckled and teased her for being good at accusing others. "I guess I'm the space heater now, huh?" he joked. On the bus, Sang-ji carefully held onto the corner of Duan Jiaxu's shirt for balance. They planned to watch a movie they'd missed before. When Sang-ji bought iced lemon tea, Duan Jiaxu stopped her from drinking it, reminding her to get used to being cared for by him. Noticing her cold hands, he offered to warm them, only for her to refuse, saying it was inappropriate since they didn't share that kind of relationship. Duan Jiaxu playfully agreed, adding that it wasn't appropriate because they didn't have a label. "A label? So I need a tag, like a souvenir?" she asked, half laughing. After the movie, Duan Jiaxu surprised Sang-ji by inviting her to his home. She hesitated, remembering that he had once forbidden her from visiting his workplace or home. Sensing her concern, Duan Jiaxu explained that his reaction during the Jiang Ying incident had been impulsive and poorly communicated. "If my house is too much, I can just show you a picture of it," he added, making her smile. At his rooftop, Duan Jiaxu had planned a special birthday surprise for Sang-ji. The area was beautifully decorated, complete with a birthday cake designed just for her. Sang-ji was overjoyed, cherishing the fact that this was the first birthday she celebrated with Duan Jiaxu. Secretly, she hoped there would be many more. He also gave her a thoughtful gift to open later. Despite the joyful atmosphere, Duan Jiaxu couldn't help but notice the gift Jiang Ming had given her, and felt a tinge of jealousy. Teasingly, he asked how someone could win her heart. "A secret recipe? Should I start a bake-off with Jiang Ming?" Sang-ji shyly mentioned a few simple qualities she looked for in a partner. With a serious expression, Duan Jiaxu asked, "Can I pursue you?" Caught off guard, Sang-ji hesitated, unsure if he was being serious. His unwavering reaction made it clear that he was. Duan Jiaxu confessed he didn't want to be seen as just her brother anymore. Nervously, Sang-ji admitted that if he truly pursued her, only then would she know how she felt about him. The tension in the air eased, and Duan Jiaxu complimented how beautiful she looked that day, making her blush. He even offered to bake her cakes every day if she liked them, a gesture Sang-ji accepted with shy gratitude. When she returned to the dormitory with her birthday cake, she was met with another surprise. Her roommates had also prepared a cake to celebrate with her. Surrounded by friends and filled with hope, Sang-ji felt that this birthday had been one of her happiest. Sang-ji carefully unwrapped the gift from Duan Jiaxu and found a camera inside. Tucked alongside it was a playful photo, a close-up selfie of his collarbone. Laughing, Sang-ji remarked that Duan Jiaxu was shameless for including such a picture. "What, no full-body shots? I guess I'll have to hire a detective to find the rest of you," he later messaged her, teasingly asking if she liked the photo. When she responded that it wasn't very clear, he joked about sending her a high-definition version if she approved. Amused, Sang-ji called him a cunning old man before saying goodnight. After their exchange, she changed his contact name from Big Brother Noto 2 inches to Suitor. Later, Sang-ji received a red envelope from her older brother, Sang-yan. When she hinted that she might be starting a romantic relationship and that the man was older, Sang-yan panicked. He immediately called to warn her, sternly reminding her to focus on her studies and avoid dating. "I swear, the older I get, the more he sounds like our dad," Sang-ji muttered, rolling her eyes. Back at the dormitory, Ning-wei suggested that Sang-ji think carefully before agreeing to date Duan Jiaxu, emphasizing the importance of protecting herself. Although Sang-ji was excited, she also felt uncertain, fearing that Duan Jiaxu's actions might be impulsive. Sang-ji decided to wear the bracelet Duan Jiaxu had given her, knowing he would notice. True to expectations, within minutes, Duan Jiaxu messaged her, asking if she was free the next day. Just as she was about to reply, Ning-wei playfully took her phone and responded that she wasn't available. "Just testing the waters. He'll probably bring me flowers next," Ning-wei jokes. On Thursday, Sang-ji dressed up beautifully, looking forward to the dinner. However, Duan Jiaxu called to cancel, citing unexpected issues. Disappointed, Sang-ji gave him the benefit of the doubt. Yet, when he stood her up a second and then a third time, her patience began to wear thin. Even her roommates expressed sympathy, noticing how let down she felt. "He's practically an artist at canceling plans. Maybe he should be painting in his free time," Sang-ji's roommate teased. Sang-ji tried to brush it off and focus on other things, but deep down, she started questioning whether Duan Jiaxu was truly serious about pursuing her. What Sang-ji didn't know was that Duan Jiaxu was grappling with a heavy burden. His father, who had been in a vegetative state for years due to a car accident, had taken a turn for the worse. Duan Jiaxu had rushed to a sanatorium to visit him, weighed down by memories of the tragedy. Years ago, after the car accident, his father had returned home, terrified, and confessed to his family that he had hit someone. Both Duan Jiaxu and his mother urged him to turn himself in, but instead, his father jumped to his death, leaving the family in turmoil. Since then, Duan Jiaxu has worked tirelessly to support himself and his family. Exhausted from his visit to the sanatorium, Duan Jiaxu returned home, reluctant to check his phone. But after some thought, he called Sang Ji, telling her he wanted to see her. When they finally met, she brought him a cotton candy from a nearby stall, explaining that eating sweet things helped lift her mood when she was upset. It was the first time Duan Jiaxu had been comforted in such a thoughtful way, and he couldn't help but feel touched. To him, this gesture confirmed that Sangzi had accepted him as more than just a friend. Who makes cotton candy for a regular friend? He teased. Sangji, speechless, suggested he look up proper tips on how to pursue a girl. Maybe I should join a dating seminar. It's either that or hire a consultant, Duan Jiaxu quipped. Duan Jiaxu quickly apologized, promising to take her seriously and make more of an effort moving forward. That weekend, Sangji attended a university sharing session, and to her surprise, Duan Jiaxu also showed up, continuing his determination to spend time with her. Okay, now that's commitment. He's got the persistence of a dog with a bone, Sangji thought, secretly pleased. The next scene begins with Sangji lying on her desk, feigning sleep. Duan Jiaxu leaned in closer and playfully poked her cheek. Sangji, who had been pretending all along, immediately sat up, her face turning red, as she accused him of disturbing her. You know, some people pay good money for this kind of attention, she muttered, embarrassed. Amused, Duan Jiaxu teasingly asked what she had been doing moments before. Without hesitation, Sangji turned and kissed his cheek, quickly adding that it didn't mean anything, and that she hadn't agreed to anything between them yet. Despite his charm and teasing, Sangji refused to let herself get swept away. Sure, it was just a test kiss. No strings attached, she joked, trying to cover up her nervousness. Annoyed, she tried to kick him out of the room, but Duan Jiaxu stubbornly insisted on staying. After class, Duan Jiaxu joined Sangji for a stroll around the university campus. Along the way, they came across their roommates watching a football match. The two decided to stay and watch, but during the game, Jiang Ming twisted his ankle, prompting Wang Wang to rush over and help him. With Jiang Ming unable to continue playing, Duan Jiaxu was asked to join as a substitute. To everyone's surprise, he showcased impressive football skills, quickly earning the admiration of many of the girls in the crowd. Who knew Mr. Suitor was also Mr. Soccer Star? Sangzi muttered, half amused, half envious. While others around her seemed to be busy with internships or enjoying their summer plans, Sangzi felt uncertain about how to spend her break. She messaged her older brother, Sang Yan, expressing her desire to stay in the city and find an internship to enrich her university experience. She pleaded with him to convince their mother, even offering to help Sang Yan with his marriage woes in return. However, Sang Yan flatly refused, suspecting that her real reason for wanting to stay was related to dating. He firmly insisted that she return home for the summer. He's basically my personal bodyguard. Maybe I should start wearing a helmet when talking to him, Sangji thought, rolling her eyes. Meanwhile, Wang Wang visited Jiang Ming to deliver medicine for his injury. Their roommate noticed Sangji's subtle reactions and teased her, speculating that she might have feelings for Jiang Ming. Later that evening, Duan Jiaxu messaged Sangji after work, only for her to surprise him by appearing right beside him. She held balloons and a gift, announcing her plans to celebrate his birthday. When Sangji realized that Sang Yan and others hadn't wished Duan Jiaxu a happy birthday, she quickly messaged her brother to remind him. Sang Yan called soon after, taking the opportunity to inquire about the boyfriend Sangji had mentioned earlier. Flustered, Sangji tried to deflect, but her reaction only heightened Sang Yan's suspicions, forcing her to hang up in embarrassment. Great, now I'm going to get interrogated like a spy, she thought, her face burning. As the evening continued, Duan Jiaxu couldn't resist teasing Sangji, asking if she really had no feelings for him. Blushing, she awkwardly admitted that she might feel a little something for him. Duan Jiaxu wasn't upset by her hesitant answer. Instead, he gently coaxed her, expressing that he was willing to wait for her feelings to grow. Duan Jiaxu offered to stay by Sangji's side while she studied, but Sangji, in a moment of boldness, leaned in and asked for a kiss. Flustered, Duan Jiaxu's thoughts became a jumble, and he quickly excused himself to cook instead. Guess I need to work on my cooking skills instead of kissing skills, he muttered under his breath, trying to save face. After dinner, Sangji insisted on doing the dishes, telling Duan Jiaxu he didn't always have to do everything by himself. Although she claimed she wasn't tired, Her constant yawning betrayed her exhaustion. She eventually retreated to her room to study, but instead of hitting the books, she flopped dramatically onto the bed. Studying vocabulary? More like practicing for a nap championship, she joked to herself. Nearby, a small stuffed dog caught her attention, the one she had given Duan Jiaxu at the airport. Delighted, Sangji grabbed it, intending to cuddle and take a nap. However, Duan Jiaxu suddenly entered the room, startling her so much that she tumbled to the floor. Embarrassed, she insisted she had been studying vocabulary, claiming it was more exciting that way. Duan Jiaxu smirked and leaned closer, flipping her over and pinning her down playfully, teasing that he could show her what excitement really meant. "Oh sure, just a casual vocab lesson, right?" she replied, her face burning. Chuckling, Duan Jiaxu let her nap on his bed, though he joked about feeling lonely without her company. Sangji, holding his arm shyly, admitted that it wasn't that she disliked his affectionate behavior. She was just not used to it yet, and it made her nervous. He's basically like a teddy bear, except, a little more handsome and less fluffy, she thought, trying to lighten the mood. Later that evening, Duan Jiaxu walked Sangji home. On the way, while she was busy giving herself candy, he gently took her hand for the first time. Hand in hand, they walked under the evening sky, and a warm pride filled Duan Jiaxu. Sangji teased him, joking that hand-holding was only supposed to happen while crossing the road, not casually like this. "Well, it's not like I'm crossing a busy intersection. It's just a walk with my official boyfriend," she teased, feeling happy and reassured. For the first time, she openly told him, "I really like you," and received an equally clear and heartfelt response. Meanwhile, Qianfei called Duan Jiaxu, informing him of an upcoming business trip and jokingly demanding a big celebratory meal. In high spirits, Duan Jiaxu agreed, feeling grateful to Qianfei for helping him in the past. Qianfei boasted in their group chat that he had been instrumental in Duan Jiaxu's romantic success, but Duan Jiaxu quickly clarified that Sangji was someone he had known for a long time. Realizing the girl in question was Sang Yan's younger sister, Qianfei panicked. Knowing Sang Yan's temper, he immediately distanced himself from the situation. "Oh no, I just realized. Sang Yan's sister, I need to start running. Fast," he texted, suddenly feeling very small. True to form, Sang Yan soon called Duan Jiaxu, scolding him for involving Qianfei in his pursuit of Sangji. Duan Jiaxu could only promise to visit Nanyu soon and explain everything in person. Great, now I have to explain myself like I'm on trial, he thought, wishing he could just disappear into the floor. Elsewhere, Wang Wang arranged an interview with Jiang Ming, and as they spent time together, her admiration for him grew. Back in her dorm, Sangji confided in Ningwei about her nervousness around Duan Jiaxu. She worried that he might misunderstand her reserved behavior, a source of ongoing anxiety. Ningwei believed that Sangji's hesitation stemmed from her earlier unspoken feelings for Duan Jiaxu. Encouraging her to be braver, Ningwei reminded Sangji that physical affection was normal in a romantic relationship. She urged Sangji to take the initiative and show Duan Jiaxu how much she cared. Inspired by Ningwei's advice, Sangji made plans with Duan Jiaxu for the weekend. Although Duan Jiaxu looked exhausted and sleep-deprived, he still agreed to go ice skating with her. At the rink, Sangji surprised him by announcing her intention to kiss him that day, wanting to give him a fair warning so he wouldn't be caught off guard. Her statement left Duan Jiaxu startled but amused. "This is like preparing for a surprise test I didn't study for," he joked, trying to hide his fluster. As he patiently taught her how to skate, Sangji lost her balance and fell into his arms. Summoning all her courage, she leaned in and gave him a quick peck on the lips. Laughing, Duan Jiaxu teased that he wasn't ready, prompting Sangji to give him a proper kiss this time. The tender moment deepened their bond. Meanwhile, Jiang Xion fell ill at work, and her colleagues persuaded her to seek medical attention. Though reluctant, she eventually agreed to go to the hospital. On her first day as an intern, Sangji dressed professionally, ready to make a good impression. Sang Yan called her, asking if she had booked her flight home. Despite being preoccupied with his own romantic endeavors, he assured her he'd pick her up from the airport. However, Sangji hesitated before revealing that she planned to stay for her internship instead of returning home. Sang Yan was furious, calling her brainless for making such a decision. Sangji's roommates also expressed concern about her future, but she felt confident in her choice and her trust in Duan Jiaxu. Determined to explain herself, she messaged Sang Yan to clarify that her boyfriend wasn't a bad person, but was actually Duan Jiaxu. Unfortunately, Sang Yan had blocked her before she could send the message. As she started her internship, Sang Ji joined her new company and discovered that her department head, Shi Xiaoyu, was a friend of Jiang Ying. One day, Jiang Ying happened to see Duan Jiaxu and Sang Ji together while Shi Xiaoyu was present. Though her first day wasn't as smooth as she had hoped, Sang Ji put on a brave face and told her parents she was happy. Her colleagues were kind and supportive, but the experience still weighed on her. Sensing her unease, Duan Jiaxu surprised her with a bouquet of flowers and a small pig figurine to cheer her up. Sang Ji brushed off his concern, reminding him she was now an adult, but she secretly appreciated his gesture. Duan Jiaxu reassured her, promising to talk to Sang Yan face-to-face about their relationship during the upcoming National Day holiday. The next day, he picked her up for work, taking a brief nap in his car while waiting. Noticing he hadn't changed clothes and looked tired, Sang Ji realized he had worked overnight. Duan Jiaxu tried to downplay it, claiming he owned multiple sets of the same outfit. But Sang Ji wasn't convinced. At the company entrance, she impulsively kissed him on the cheek, only to have Shi Xiaoyu witness the affectionate moment. Later, Shi Xiaoyu relayed this to Jiang Ying, whose jealousy flared upon learning about Sang Ji and Duan Jiaxu's relationship. Under the guise of a project review, Shi Xiaoyu began scolding Sang Ji without cause, accusing her of being arrogant and incompetent. Her dislike for Sang Ji was obvious. That evening, Jiang Ying invited Shi Xiaoyu to dinner, but Shi Xiaoyu declined, citing a team-building event at work. As Sang Ji prepared to leave the gathering, she ran into Jiang Ying at the doorway of the private room. Sang Ji tried to ignore her, but Jiang Ying followed, bringing up Duan Jiaxu's personal burdens. She mentioned that Duan Jiaxu's father was in a vegetative state and required 100,000 yuan annually for hospital expenses, questioning which girl would willingly shoulder such a responsibility. Sang Ji responded firmly that she would, as long as it didn't involve her own bank account. Refusing to relent, Jiang Ying revealed that Duan Jiaxu's father had caused a fatal accident, but argued it had nothing to do with Duan Jiaxu. Jiang Ying also raised doubts about whether Sang Ji's family would accept their relationship, but Sang Ji confidently told her not to worry about it. She was pretty sure her family could handle one more headache. Jiang Ying continued to provoke, claiming Duan Jiaxu lacked love due to his family circumstances. Sang Ji stayed quiet, not engaging with her comments. However, Jiang Ying escalated the situation, stating that Duan Jiaxu's father was responsible for her own father's death. Despite this, Sang Ji stood by Duan Jiaxu, insisting that he shouldn't be held accountable for something beyond his control. After this conversation, Sang Ji couldn't help but feel sorry for Duan Jiaxu, knowing how much guilt he carried from his past. When he later brought her some bread, she handed him a bank card containing 5,000 yuan, promising she'd have another 3,000 if she completed her internship successfully. In her own way, she tried to tell him she wanted to take care of him and make him happy for a lifetime. Instead of accepting the gesture, Duan Jiaxu gave her his wallet and encouraged her to buy herself a pretty dress, though he probably forgot that the only dress she could afford with that budget was a paper one. Sang Ji, still thinking about their future, even dreamed of buying a house in Yihu. Though she insisted she wasn't unhappy, Duan Jiaxu didn't press her, silently staying by her side. That evening, Duan Jiaxu walked Sang Ji home. During their walk, Sang Ji's mother called for a video chat. Shortly after, Sang Yan also called. To Sang Ji's shock, Sang Yan appeared in person moments later. He spotted Sang Ji and Duan Jiaxu holding hands while strolling on campus, and his emotions spiraled out of control. As Sang Ji nervously tried to explain, Duan Jiaxu stepped forward and honestly confessed their relationship. Sang Ji chased after Sang Yan as he walked away, desperately trying to explain further, but he stayed cold, escorting her to her dorm and sternly telling her to go upstairs. Duan Jiaxu also urged her to listen to her brother and go inside. Despite her worry, Sang Ji reluctantly obeyed, glancing back anxiously as Sang Yan confronted Duan Jiaxu a few steps away. Sang Yan vented his anger, striking Duan Jiaxu multiple times, while Duan Jiaxu chose not to fight back. Sang Yan struggled to accept the situation, not because Duan Jiaxu was dating someone younger, but because that someone was his sister. When his anger subsided, he had nothing left to say but remained visibly upset. Later, Sang Ji called Sang Yan to check on him, but he ignored her. Meanwhile, Duan Jiaxu messaged Sang Ji to reassure her and stayed back to talk with Sang Yan. Duan Jiaxu emphasized that he was serious about his relationship with Sang Ji. He promised to treat her well for the rest of his life, adding that their 5-year age gap wasn't significant. Afterward, Duan Jiaxu brought Sang Yan to his home to rest. When Sang Yan tried to grab food from the fridge, Duan Jiaxu refused, joking that it was reserved for his girlfriend. as if food ever had a chance when romance was involved. Later, Sang Ji video called Duan Jiaxu. He avoided showing his face, claiming he wasn't wearing clothes to hide the injuries from Sang Yan. Instead, they switched to a voice call, during which Duan Jiaxu downplayed the confrontation, saying Sang Yan only scolded him a bit. This eased Sang Ji's worry, allowing her to sleep soundly. The next day, Duan Jiaxu wore a mask, pretending to have a cold to avoid infecting Sang Ji. However, she quickly noticed the marks on his face and realized Sang Yan was responsible. Furious, Sang Ji confronted her brother, threatening to cut ties with him. Duan Jiaxu was deeply moved by her protectiveness, while Sang Yan was left speechless. Eventually, Duan Jiaxu managed to calm Sang Ji down and have an honest discussion with Sang Yan. Although their conversation became heated, they awkwardly made amends in the end. With things settled, Sang Ji and Duan Jiaxu didn't hold back from openly showing their affection in front of Sang Yan, leaving him to adjust to their relationship. He probably wasn't ready for this kind of public display, but it was too late now. After dropping Sang Ji off at home, Duan Jiaxu and Sang Yan planned to return to the company, but Sang Yan insisted on accompanying him. Recently, Duan Jiaxu had been staying late at work after his dates with Sang Ji, and Sang Yan couldn't help but notice how much Duan Jiaxu was sacrificing for their relationship. Duan Jiaxu mentioned that he planned to move to a bigger house closer to Sang Ji's school. Although Sang Yan was always concerned about his sister's relationship, knowing it was with Duan Jiaxu, he felt a sense of relief, trusting in Duan Jiaxu's character. The next morning, after Sang Yan had already left, Duan Jiaxu learned from a colleague that Sang Ji had been seen with Jiang Ying at a KTV the night before. Concerned, Duan Jiaxu went straight to Jiang Ying, warning her that if she approached Sang Ji again, he would report her to the authorities. He promised to protect Sang Ji no matter what, and would do anything to keep her safe. At a meeting later, Sang Ji boldly shared her ideas. While Shi Xiaoyu disagreed, the management team was impressed, and they decided to let the clients choose between the two proposals. However, Shi Xiaoyu's disapproval of Sang Ji grew stronger, and she sarcastically accused her of stealing someone else's boyfriend. Sang Yan called Sang Ji to inform her he'd be leaving early the next morning. Sang Ji, feeling upset and left out, complained about not being told sooner, and ended up crying outside the company building. When Duan Jiaxu returned, Sang Yan quickly handed Sang Ji over to him to comfort her. Duan Jiaxu understood that Sang Ji probably just wanted to go home, so he decided to take a leave of absence and stay with her. He wanted to be more than just her boyfriend. He wanted to be someone she could always rely on. Although Sang Ji refused to talk about what had happened at the company, Duan Jiaxu brought up Jiang Ying's visit and urged her to tell him about any problems she faced. Later that evening, Sang Yan sent Sang Ji money for her living and pocket expenses, advising her not to stay angry with Duan Jiaxu. Sang Ji was pleasantly surprised when her proposal was well received by the clients. Duan Jiaxu had also rented a 2-bedroom apartment near her school, not with the intention of living together, but so Sang Ji would have a place to relax when she needed it. He handed her the keys with sincerity, telling her it was now her home. The next day, Sang Ji's dormitory air conditioner broke, and the manager said the repairs couldn't be done until the end of the summer vacation. Suffering from the heat, Sang Ji was relieved when Duan Jiaxu called and decided to pick her up. He took her to his place, bringing along a variety of food to tempt her, joking that if she lived there, she'd have all her favorite snacks every day. After Sang Ji took a shower, Duan Jiaxu played games with her, holding her close. When her hair got tangled in his pajama button, he hurriedly helped her, struggling to control his feelings, but ultimately restraining himself out of respect for her. Flushed with embarrassment, Sang Ji quickly ran into the bedroom, leaving her slippers behind, and buried her face in the covers, feeling lost and unsure. The next day, by chance, Sang Ji and Duan Jiaxu both wore matching couple outfits. When they opened the door, they froze in surprise, realizing they were unintentionally twinning. Early in the morning, Sang Ji made breakfast for Duan Jiaxu, and he enjoyed the meal she had lovingly prepared for him. When he came home from work in the evening, he found Sang Ji already asleep on the couch, and he gently kissed her as a sign of affection. During her overtime shifts, Duan Jiaxu would bring Sang Ji supper, always looking out for her. Before long, Sang Ji's internship was coming to an end. She had prepared thoughtful gifts for everyone and received the recognition she had worked so hard for. Duan Jiaxu's project had also made great progress. After months of hard work, long nights, and overtime, the new project was finally launched. As a gesture of goodwill, Sang Ji gave Shi Xiaoyu a farewell gift. She assured Shi Xiaoyu that she hadn't stolen anyone's boyfriend, and even suggested that seeing a psychologist might help her better understand the situation. Sister Siyun wanted to recommend Duan Jiaxu for the position of general manager at the company. Despite his young age, his skills were undeniable, and Duan Jiaxu was flattered by the offer. He had planned to take Sang Ji out for a fun time and prepared an elaborate plan, but Sang-ji wasn't interested in any of it. She simply wanted to go camping, which was more affordable. She was well prepared for the camping trip, and while amusement parks were loud and crowded, a quiet camping trip for just the two of them felt more romantic. Duan Jiaxu agreed to her plan, and Sang-ji was so excited that she didn't even plan to sleep that night. However, the next day, it started pouring rain, and Sang-ji felt disappointed. Instead of giving up, they decided to set up the tent indoors. Just as they finished, Sang-ji's mother called. In a hurry, Sang-ji crawled into the tent, and Duan Jiaxu crouched down to hide. Although Sang-yan immediately recognized that Sang-ji was at Duan Jiaxu's place, he chose not to mention it. Their parents were hoping Sang-ji would return to Nanwu because they missed her. Once school began, Sang-ji decided to enter the design competition at Yihei University. Wang shared the edited interview with Jiang Ming, expressing her true feelings. Jiang Ming felt a little awkward, but Wang just wanted to be honest with him. During the National Day holiday, Sang-yan picked up Sang-ji as usual, planning to buy her favorite taro paste crispy duck. Sang-ji's mother overheard her talking to Duan Jiaxu on the phone and realized her daughter was likely in a relationship, although she didn't yet know it was with Duan Jiaxu. Since Duan Jiaxu was visiting Nanwu the next day, Sang-ji took out the little fox and a box filled with her wishes, confirming that she was indeed in a relationship with him. Unable to hold back his curiosity, Sang-ji's father directly asked her about her relationship, which made Sang-ji nervous, and she ran off before confessing. Holding some fruit, she turned to Sang-yan for help, begging him to take her to dinner with his classmates. In the car, Sang-yan couldn't help but feel jealous, remembering how Sang-ji used to call Duan Jiaxu brother, with more affection than she did for him. It seemed that his little sister didn't love him as much as she loved Duan Jiaxu. Sang-ji couldn't wait any longer, and went to find Duan Jiaxu. Her actions left Sang-yan speechless. He wondered if Duan Jiaxu had really been the one to pursue Sang-ji. When Duan Jiaxu arrived, he and Sang-ji held hands as they got into the back seat of the car. Sang-yan was so shocked he almost choked, but eventually accepted his role as their full-time driver. The three of them went to a gathering, where Sang-ji's identity shifted from being Duan Jiaxu's sister to his girlfriend. At the event, Qian Fei, who was about to become a father, was congratulated, and the mood was happy and lively. Sang-ji had to be home before 10 o'clock, so Duan Jiaxu walked her back to sober her up. He claimed to be allergic to alcohol and didn't drink, but he kissed Sang-ji near her lips repeatedly, as if the allergy didn't bother him at all. Sang-ji interrupted the kiss and quickly ran home. Sang's mother noticed that Sang-ji had been drinking and was worried, but with Sang-yan around, she felt reassured. Earlier, outside, Sang's mother had already figured out that Sang-ji and Duan Jiaxu were in a relationship, and Sang-ji reluctantly admitted it. She assured her mother not to worry, saying Duan Jiaxu was a good person. Although Sang's mother knew Duan Jiaxu was a good man, she was concerned about his family background. Despite Duan Jiaxu's care for Sang-ji as her boyfriend, her mother couldn't fully accept the relationship. Sang-yan planned to visit Sang-ji's parents, and Sang-ji agreed, saying she would talk to her parents about it. Sang-ji was turning 20 next year, and she felt she was still too young. While Sang-ji was away, Sang's father invited Duan Jiaxu to their home. He first asked about Duan Jiaxu's family background and expressed his concerns. Sang-ji was still young, and as parents, they couldn't help but worry. After all, she was their precious daughter, and they hoped Duan Jiaxu would seriously think about their future together. After attending a class reunion, Sang-ji came home, and her parents started reminiscing about her childhood. Time had flown by, and she had grown into a young woman. Her parents were not strict, but they didn't want her to suffer. They told her that they had spoken to Duan Jiaxu and hoped she would consider if they were really a good match. If not, it would be better to break up. Sang-ji was silent. Even though Duan Jiaxu had never made her suffer, his family situation was complicated. She was willing to support him and didn't want her parents to judge him based on his background, something he couldn't change. Duan Jiaxu felt conflicted after hearing what Sang's father had said. Sang-ji worried that he might be feeling pressured, so she called him to encourage him. Duan Jiaxu tried to appear calm, but Sang-ji reassured him, saying he was a good person and that his family situation didn't matter. His eyes grew red, and he asked Sang-ji to get along well with her parents and not to bring him up. Duan Jiaxu had to go to Yihei the next day for a last-minute meeting with a client, which made Sang-ji anxious. She feared he might be considering breaking up. The next day, Sang-ji packed her bags and decided to go to Yihei to find Duan Jiaxu. She understood her parents' concerns, but she had grown up and knew what she wanted. Although her parents didn't trust Duan Jiaxu, they could trust her decision this time. After getting off the plane, Duan Jiaxu told her to wait for him at the airport. Sang Ji explained that she hadn't come to find some online crush in her second year of high school. She had come to find him because she heard he had a girlfriend. She hadn't started liking him only after starting university. Sang Ji showed Duan Jiaxu the secret notes she had written when she was younger. Nervously but earnestly, she asked him to believe that she was serious and that she wanted to be with him, no matter what others said. Sang Ji told Duan Jiaxu that she hoped he wouldn't listen to what others said and that they would be together forever. As she slowly folded up the little star notes, Duan Jiaxu wiped away his tears and promised to treasure them. He hugged her and said that now he had a real girlfriend, not just the one people talked about in rumors. Sang Ji worried that Duan Jiaxu might be thinking about breaking up with her, but in truth, he was considering their future together. He assured her that he would find the right time to talk to her parents and clear everything up. In the middle of the night, Sang Ji woke up to find Duan Jiaxu drinking. Concerned about his mood, she thought he deserved better. Duan Jiaxu realized he had been slow to see how devoted Sang Ji was to him, and he didn't want her to regret choosing him. With the help of alcohol, their kisses became more passionate. Duan Jiaxu decided to resign from his job and start a business in Nanwu. Jiang Xion and the others didn't object, as they knew Duan Jiaxu had thought it through. He soon received a call from the hospital informing him that his father's condition was worsening. Standing by his father's bed, Duan Jiaxu struggled to find the right words. It had been a long time since they'd spoken, and he regretted not confronting his problems sooner. He realized that if he had faced his responsibilities back then, his life and his family's life could have been different. He thought about how his father had taught him the meaning of responsibility. Now, Duan Jiaxu was able to protect the ones he loved and felt like a decent person. He wished his father peace and said he would apologize to his mother when he saw her. His father's fingers twitched slightly before he passed away. Sang Ji arrived, deeply worried about Duan Jiaxu. He tried to appear calm, saying that his father's death was inevitable, but then he broke down in her arms, crying uncontrollably. He felt all alone, with no parents left. Sang Ji went with Duan Jiaxu to visit his mother, and she told her that his father had passed away. Sang Ji hoped that they could find happiness and peace. She reassured Duan Jiaxu, saying that he was a good person now, and that she wouldn't let anyone hurt him. In the future, he would have his own family, and many people would love him. He wouldn't have to face everything alone. A little while later, Duan Jiaxu told Sang Ji that he had already resigned from his job and was going back to Nanwu. No matter where she was, they would build a future together. In a month, Duan Jiaxu would return to Nanwu, and Sang Ji was sad to part from him, as she still had to finish her studies at university. On the day Duan Jiaxu had to leave, Sang Ji clung to his arm all the way to the airport. She told him to work hard but not to stress too much. If he failed, it was okay. She would be there to support him. As Duan Jiaxu was about to board the plane, Sang Ji followed him for a moment, making it harder for him to leave. It wasn't until Duan Jiaxu was really about to board the plane that Sang Ji finally let go of his hand. Before he left, Sang Ji prepared a guide for their long-distance relationship, which Duan Jiaxu thought was a wonderful idea. They made a promise to follow it together, keeping their love strong despite the distance. Sang Ji stayed busy with school competitions, while Duan Jiaxu returned to Nanwu to focus on building his business. Gradually, he established his studio step by step. During their free time, Duan Jiaxu, Qian Fei, and their friends often visited Sang Yan's bar for dinner. Duan Jiaxu also planned to visit Sang Ji's parents again to discuss something important. When Sang Ji called him, Duan Jiaxu updated her on the situation. On the day Duan Jiaxu visited, Sang Yan made sure to come home. Sang Ji explained that her parents didn't fully approve of Duan Jiaxu and asked Sang Yan to help smooth things over. When the topic of Duan Jiaxu's job came up, they didn't talk about anything else. After dinner, Duan Jiaxu gathered his courage and spoke honestly to Sang Ji's parents about his feelings. He understood their concerns, but he assured them that his love for Sang Ji was genuine, and he was serious about their future. He explained that if it weren't for Sang Ji, his life might have turned out very differently. Duan Jiaxu promised to treat her well for the rest of his life. And finally, Sang Ji's parents relaxed. What mattered most to them was Sang-ji's happiness, and that was enough. As Dwan Jiaxu prepared to leave, Sang-yan sincerely hoped he wouldn't carry unnecessary burdens, as it could become overwhelming. Dwan Jiaxu sighed, grateful for his lifelong friend. He reminded Sang-yan that they had been together from the start, even before meeting Sang-ji. Back home, Dwan Jiaxu video called Sang-ji to tell her the good news. Her parents no longer opposed their relationship. Sang-ji was overjoyed and shared that her design project had won an award, and there would be a ceremony at the end of the month. However, Dwan Jiaxu felt a bit regretful because he had a lot of work to finish at the end of the month. Still, he made the decision to return to Yihei and attend Sang-ji's award ceremony. Their affection for each other was clear, and though some people found it uncomfortable, they didn't mind. At the award ceremony, the One Dream Jianghu project team was also invited, and Dwan Jiaxu attended in place of Jiang Xiyun. He presented the award, which was specifically for Sang-ji. Together, they had achieved their dreams. 2 years later, Sang-ji graduated, and the group gathered by the seaside. While they were planning a marriage proposal for Chen Qiang and Ning Wei, they never expected that Sang-ji would be the one getting proposed to. Dwan Jiaxu had invited her parents and Sang-yan to be part of the surprise. He had planned many ways to surprise her and wanted to give her a beautiful future. He promised to cherish her forever, and with the support of their families and friends, he placed the engagement ring on her finger. Afterward, Dwan Jiaxu shared a special secret with Sang-ji. He had liked her long before she ever showed her feelings for him. Sang-ji was pleasantly surprised, and they both worked hard to support each other. Sang-ji healed Dwan Jiaxu's past wounds while he completed her first love. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.